7% over last year. What deal was even bigger on Black Friday?
Why does the Alabama Crimson Tide deserve to be in the national championship game?
And why can't Houston get some love?
Sounds like we need some answers. Let's start the show.
Hello and welcome to another edition of SportsJAM alongside Stephen Peffer and Rob Steele. I am Chad Cetera. Gentlemen, it's all but done. The NBA has labor. Now, peace. We'll talk about that later. No, the BCS championship game is all but done. Stephen is excited. He gets his rematch. Rob's upset because Houston doesn't get any love. And I'm just sickened because I have to watch 9-6 football again.
It's not going to be 9-6 this time.
Okay, it's going to be 4-4.
It'll be 6-6 to 9.
Guarantee you the offenses show up this game. There's no way they can play. No way they can play two defensive games like that again.
I guarantee you Alabama's going to blow out LSU. Yeah, but their kicker decided not to show up for the football game.
Alabama gave it to him on a silver platter, that's for sure. But everything's worked out just like I said it would, and we're back to where we need to be. The best two teams, Chad.
Is it?
Yes.
Why is Houston not getting any love out of this? I mean, for years, everyone says, if there's two undefeated teams left, they need to play each other for the BCS championship. Right now, there are two undefeated teams, LSU, Alabama. You know, I can't knock that they're a great team, but they're not the undefeated team. It's Houston.
BCS was made to match...
To screw everything up.
To match the best two teams together at the end of the year, and we have the best two teams.
No,
mathematically, no. I've got... Pollsters are just... Pollsters are opinions, and if you look at the computer stuff, it's actually the opinions thrown into a computer. It has nothing to do with math, stats, the actual teams. It's all opinions.
Well, it does have strength of schedule based on that.
Stop right there, Stephen. You're going to argue with Rob about voting.
Math.
I tried it last week with Justin Verlander. It didn't work too well. Don't try it again. You might not win.
Last week?
It was last week with Justin Verlander. All right,
wow.
Stephen, go ahead. You can talk now.
I'm just saying strength of schedule is incorporated into this BCS formula. So
strength of schedule. Who did they play? I'm looking at it now. They've got LSU and Arkansas. And that's how I'm going to pronounce it because there is no W in Arkansas. Sorry.
Overrated.
But, I mean,
you could just call them, instead of calling them Arkansas, call them overrated.
That too.
Arkansas lost to the best two teams. That's their only two losses.
They got blown out by the best two teams. Did you watch the game this past Friday? They were up 14-0 in LSU. Just, kick off and then bam. It's like an explosion. They scored 41 of the last 44 points of that game. Won the game 41-17. They're excited because, yay, they get to play in the SEC championship game while the team that didn't even win the division gets to sit at home and virtually play for the national title.
That's how it goes. Best two teams are going to play in New Orleans, Alabama, LSU. Can you tell me?
So hard.
Well, tell me why.
I'm holding my breath. My face is turning crimson because.
Please tell me, please.
No.
What are we telling you?
Who did Alabama beat this year?
LSU.
Arkansas.
No, they didn't beat
LSU. I'm sorry. They did everyone but LSU, but that would leave.
They beat Penn State, a 3-loss team in the Big Ten, which you have even admitted many times on this show. The Big Ten is very overrated. When Ohio State isn't good in the Big Ten, nobody's good in the Big Ten. Wisconsin, Michigan State for the Big Ten title. Are you going to watch that game? I'm not going to watch that game.
It's going to be a
Both
good game.
teams are overrated. Penn State got blown away this past week.
Look what they're dealing with.
Well, yeah.
Come on.
You can't knock Penn State that much.
Hold on. Look at what they're dealing with. Can I use that argument?
Please use it.
Okay.
Please.
Oklahoma State.
Should be more up there.
1 loss.
2.
Correct? 1 loss.
2. 2.
Okay, to Iowa State.
Thank you.
But look at what we're dealing with, as you said. They played on a Friday night at Iowa State, less than 36 hours after the athletic department suffered a major loss in losing the head coach and the assistant head coach to the women's basketball team. Yes, 2 different sports, but it's part of the athletic department, part of the school. Oklahoma State has been ripped by the voters that have the opinion that because they went to Iowa State, they were a 4-touchdown favorite, and they lost the game in overtime, that they dropped from number 2 down to number 5. And nobody above them have lost since then, so they're stuck at number 5 by the voters. How is that possible? How is that fair to a team that was playing with a lot of emotion against them?
I agree with you. Why don't they reschedule the game to their off week, which was last week? Why can't you do that?
Iowa State was playing Oklahoma last week.
Yeah, and played them a pretty good game too, I guess, right? Did Oklahoma, was there anything wrong with them? Or they just didn't play good?
The game was in Norman. Okay, that's first thing first off. See, my opinion is, and it could be mute, if Oklahoma State does not beat Oklahoma this week, which honestly I don't think Oklahoma State's going to win that game, but if they do, they are the Big 12 champion. They are in a conference that up and down, go from the top all the way to the bottom, has better talent and better records than the Southeastern Conference.
Better talent, better records?
They have 7 or 8 teams. They have one more team that have qualified for the bowls this year than what the SEC does. Look at the bottom of the SEC. Kentucky, garbage. Kansas. Okay, they're both basketball powers. They're both garbage. But you start going up it, and then all of a sudden you see a Texas A&M who had a good year. Texas had a good year. Baylor had a good year. Kansas State, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, not to mention Missouri. Those are your teams. Who do you have in the SEC? LSU, Alabama, Arkansas, South Carolina, Georgia. Both of those are skeptic. Then you've got, Mississippi State.
Did you say septic?
Skeptic. I did say septic, yeah, because you're going to say Alabama, who's number 2 in the nation, they lost to LSU, the number 1 team in the nation. So that's going to be the argument for everybody that is a Crimson Tide fan. We lost to the best team in the country.
No, we won the game, but we lost, but we should have won. We gave them the game. I mean,
we lost, but we won. Hey, can I throw out an idea? Why don't we get rid of conferences and just let the best teams play each other multiple times during the season? That way we'll figure out who actually wins.
See that anyways, Rob.
Alabama can't help they're in the same division as LSU. They have to play.
Houston can't help that they're not in a division with anybody else.
Their strength of schedule is 111th. Houston.
I have no idea what that means.
That means it's horrible. One being the best.
They're going better.
But they're beating the crap out of everybody.
They are like the New York Yankees if they were to be playing against Kansas City, Minnesota, Seattle, and Oakland every single month.
So Detroit's strength of schedule wasn't all that great, so Verlander wasn't really as valuable, and Kobe Ellsbury wins the MVP.
All right, back to what we were talking about. Anyways, you look at it, though. The voters dropped Oklahoma State down. And this is where the problem is. Because in the computers, which, as Rob had stated earlier, has a lot to do with opinions, the computers had Oklahoma State rated number 2 up until this week where, as you corrected me on my drive home from work today, moved them up, Alabama up to number 2. Oklahoma State wins over Oklahoma. They're obviously going to jump back into number 2 on the computers. It's obvious it's going to happen. Problem is Stanford doesn't play this week. They are rated ahead in the human poll of Oklahoma State. So most voters are not going to jump them over Stanford. Virginia Tech plays a crappy Clemson team, or an exposed Clemson team, because they were good at the beginning of the year. Virginia Tech will probably win that game. So Oklahoma State has no chance of jumping either one of them to move into number 3 in the human polls. Problem is they should never have been behind either one of those teams to begin with. Yes, they lost to Iowa State, and that's going to be your crutch. You're going to beat me down with the Iowa State thing because the Cyclones are garbage. But Stanford could not take care of business at home. They got their asses handed to them by Oregon, 53-30 at home. Needless to say, let me remind you that again. Virginia Tech, they are like the Houston of college football. Oh, wait, we got Houston in college football. They played nobody. So
UCLA.
Why are either one of them ahead? Nope, nobody's ahead. Nobody should be ahead of Oklahoma State. The argument should be
Alabama and LSU. That's the 2 teams that should be ahead of them. That's fine. Oklahoma State is the third best team.
This week, I will agree. I will sit here and say LSU 1, Alabama 2, Oklahoma State should be 3.
I agree.
But the problem is we don't have
Houston
a vote.
should be 2.
We don't have the most. But number 1 defense in the nation, Alabama. Number 2, LSU. They're both averaging over 30 points a game on offense. How can they not be the best of the game? 2 teams, they have defense and they score points. Oklahoma State.
6 against each other.
Right, the 2 best defenses, number 1 and number 2 defense playing against each other. Exactly, that's how it should have been. That was a great game. I want to see the game again, even if Alabama loses. I don't care if we get blown out. I want to see the rematch because that was a knockdown, drag-out, old-school football game, and that's how it used to be. Now it's just, let's run picks with some receivers and throw the ball and not play any defense. Oklahoma State don't play defense. Oklahoma State is horrible. Oklahoma State would get destroyed.
They're number 2 in points scored. They score 49 points a game. 49.8. I don't know where they get the .8. But that's what they average. They haven't played defense. Offense, 563. They don't have to play defense.
They haven't played a defense. They haven't played a defense.
The Green Bay Packers don't play defense. And look at where they are at. They are 11-0 right now.
Let them play.
Hey, fellas, speaking of the Green Bay Packers, let's kind of shelve this until next week because I know it'll keep going. Let's go to do some NFL picks.